I stopped taking other work. I stopped auditioning completely for 1.5, 2 years. I did not audition at all.
A woman of today. I mean, you know how these days when you're attending shadis, people say, so when are you getting married? Yes. And I'm like, find me a boy. Yeah. No, find me a boy. Where are these men? Who should I be marrying? Where are these good men? Because I'm finding all toxic men everywhere. That somebody gets 10,000 chances, is shit at their job and gets 10,000. And there are so many good actors out there who are not even getting a chance. I feel like it's a bit unfair.
Hello and welcome. You're watching India.com Z with Jigyasa Sahay. And आजकल जहाँ प्यार का मौसम चल ही रहा है, Valentine's week मन ही रहा है. So today we are with very special guests, two talented actors who are here to talk more about love, relationships, and are here with their new project, Pyaar Ka Professor. So welcome Sandeepa Dhar and Pranav Sachdeva. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
First of all, big congratulations for the trailer. It is a very refreshing story. जो ट्रेलर से पता चला and I'm sure there's much more behind it. So congratulations for that and I think काफ़ी people are liking it. It has already started a chatter on social media and I think आजकल जब social media पे बस बनना शुरू होता है, so you know there is this sort of validation also कि you know people are ready for it. So you know to begin with how the story started for you, how did you land for this role? How the Pyaar Ka Professor happened for you?
For me, it happened on a very random Monday kind of a thing. The casting director, Mukesh Thabra, is the one who called me up and he said, you know, I'm casting for this film and it seems like a very interesting story. And why don't you read it and see if, you know, I feel like you're very right for the part. And I was traveling at that time. I was in Bangalore or somewhere. And I was like, okay, fine, you know, I'll read it on the flight or something like that, send it to me. And there were like, I think 3 episodes or something that he had sent me. And I started reading it. And usually that, you know, I gauge it by if it hooks my interest in the first 10 pages, then you know, then it's a good one. Yeah. If it doesn't hook you in the first 10 minutes, then you know it's not really, it's just average writing. And I finished the 3 episodes by the time I had landed from Bangalore to Bombay. And I knew. Like, I knew if I had, like, read it continuously and not fallen asleep and enjoyed myself. So I knew that it's engaging.
Right.
And I think the character was, you know, very rarely do women get parts like this. And I'm so glad a man, a bunch of men have written a part like that. Because it's very rare, because woman writing a part like this is kind of, it's obvious. But from a man's gaze, to write a character like Malika, you don't really get to know much about what Malika is all about from the trailer. But when you watch the show, then you'll obviously come to know. I was very kicked about doing Malika from the time that I read the first episode. Mm-hmm. And I knew that I had to do it because it's representing the modern woman of today, you and me. Like, in usually how, when women are offered parts, especially, a heroine part, it's always the good girl. Mm-hmm. She never does anything wrong. Yeah. She's never immoral. She can make no mistake. Yeah. And that's, like, it's so annoying when you read parts like that, right? Because nobody's like that. Nobody's perfect.
There are flaws.
We all have flaws. Yeah. Like, we make mistakes, we learn from them, and then we, maybe make those mistakes again until we learn from them. But that was the interesting bit about Malika, that she's very flawed. She makes mistakes, and how she learns from it and how her self-discovery happens. And that was beautiful. I think it was handled very sensitively and in a vulnerable way. So I was like, yeah. I called up the director, Akshay. Surprisingly, I've done another show with him before. And I was like, dude, are you doing this show? Because I'm definitely doing this show. He's like, yeah, man, we're very excited to have you. I was like, yeah, that's how the show kind of happened. It happened in a flight.
And so, Pranav, what about you? How did this happen for you?
It was such a captivating answer.
Yeah, it was.
Thank you for repeating it.
Or does that mean that I've been talking too much?
No. It means that I was genuinely engaged in what you were saying. But honestly, so I was doing other work and I was acting in other stuff. Uh, and at this point, I thought, yeah, I'm not being offered the kind of roles that I want to play. And every part is important, and I, dearly respect everybody who is on a film set doing anything, because it's one hell of a job. But I wanted to be, I wanted to play lengthier parts, as frivolous as it sounds. So I wanted to write for myself, and then that's how it started. Honestly, I wanted to make a show which is fun and which I can feature in. And then I got together with my partners, Ishan Soni, Vaibhav Kapoor. They're my school friends, and then we're now, we run a production house, and then that's how it started. And then while I was writing the show, I had a few references, because there are real life people who are doing this right now in different cities. They're teaching other men how to charm women or how to impress women. So a lot of it was drawn from real life. And for Mallika's character also, we've done a lot of research. We met a lot of counselors and psychotherapists. We can't reveal a lot of it right now, because then we'll spoil the show. But that's how it started. And when it started, I just wanted to write a very honest show. I stopped taking other work. I stopped auditioning completely for 1.5 2 years. I did not audition at all. Like, so much so that now some people have forgotten that ये भी actor है, उनको वापस बोलना पड़ेगा कि मैं भी वापस मुझे acting करनी है. So I was writing the show, and then I primarily wanted to write it so that I can act in it. And yeah, that's how it started.
Oh, that's great. So like basically like a passion project that you have been working towards. And I'm sure once it airs, you will not have to message people. They'll get to know कि see Pranav is back.
How sweet.
Yeah.
For sure.
आपके मुंह में घी शक्कर.
So, अक्सर होता है कि, actors talk about कि how they, relate or resonate with their character. So, if I have to ask, so Vaibhav के character में कितना Pranav है?
ज़्यादा नहीं है. Only Vaibhav is very good with women, and so am I.
How modest.
Yeah.
I'm very modest.
No, I think he's a very hardworking guy.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned from his character. वो दिन रात लगे रहता है. दिन में कुछ और करता है, रात को कुछ और करता है.
Hustler.
He's a hustler. तो वो मुझे लगता है there's this one thing that because I was also writing it, so there are bits of me in it, and I was also playing it. तो वो obviously
Aspirational value of
how I wanted to be.
Yeah.
लड़कियां पसंद करती हैं.
charming हो, witty हो.
जो real life में नहीं है वो मैंने सब उसमें डाल दिया.
Oh, nice. Great. And what about you, Sandeepa? Mallika or Sandeepa? Kitni Sandeepa is Mallika?
I think there's a bit of me in everything that I play. I mean, the sense that it cannot be, I don't think anything is completely different, because it's all coming from you. So there's definitely a bit of Mallika in me, but there is also not, because I remember having discussions on, with him about, certain decisions that Mallika takes in the show. And I'm like, if I was her, I would not be doing this. Yeah. And then the point was, that's Mallika, it's not you. Yeah. But then I get it. So I feel like it's 50-50 in a way. I feel I think the essence of her is me, but there's a lot of her that isn't me. But that's also that's why it's interesting, and that's why it was liberating to play someone like her. But she's very relatable because she's a woman of today. I mean, you know how these days when you're attending shadis, people say, so when are you getting married? Yes. And I'm like, find me a boy. Yeah. No, find me a boy. Where are these men? Who should I be marrying? Where are these good men? Because I'm finding all toxic men everywhere. So,
green flag men.
Correct. Where are these green flagged men? Because I'm finding only red flags. Yeah. I'm the one wearing red. I'm the walking red flag today. But that's the thing, because it's so difficult, I feel, to find men who understand what women want, who understand the psychology of it, which is interesting here, because the character that Pranav is playing teaches men to understand the psyche of a woman, to understand her body language, to gauge by her body language what is it that she really wants, to not cross the line with decency. Right. To be charming, to be witty, without being, don't be creepy.
Yeah.
Like most men sometimes are borderline creepy because they'll give you, those lines they'll give you, those cheesy. You're like, my God. So
Was your
that is
dad a
refreshing.
terrorist because you're a bomb? Those kind of
Correct.
things.
Imagine people still use
Yeah,
lines
they
like
do.
this, man. So I'm like, I want to send all those boys to to this master class
To Weber's class, yeah.
to understand, what women want, what women want in a man, and not just as a romantic partner, but in general, there's a way you speak to a woman, how you connect emotionally to a woman, all of those things. I feel like not just men who will benefit from this. I think women will also want to take their boyfriends and make them watch this, because all of us want our partners to pick up on the small things, to be a good listener, to understand us without us saying something. Usually you have to tell men what you want.
Yeah, and it's those things, unsaid things that happen that make it count. That's right. So, if I have to ask you both, so who has been, like, do you have or kabhi tha aapka koi प्यार का professor per se, maybe like जैसे कहते हैं ना wingman or wing woman, or your go-to person जिससे आप love relationships पे, the first call is to that person. Who's that for you?
My best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everything that happens, उसने ये बोला, तेरे को क्या लगता है? Did he mean this? इसका मतलब क्या था? He liked my story. What do you think it means? He's watching my stories. What means he's interested? I mean, there are everything. How you overthink the smallest of things, and then you want a meaning behind all of that.
Yeah.
All of that is my best friend. Like I feel like she knows everything about me. Will know when I'm over analyzing, when I'm under analyzing. So she's like, I feel like all of us have that one friend, and that we make calls to. We annoy the shit out of them, and especially when you're in a relationship, or before you get into a relationship, those conversations of the 2-3 months is hashed out.
Yeah.
Is hashed out and broken. Everything is over analyzed to another level with your best friend. And
Text by text.
Correct. Text
Story
by
by
text.
story. So much so that if they post like a quote, you
उसका
find
क्या
meaning in
मतलब
it.
था?
Correct.
Yeah.
मेरे लिए ही लगा कल रात को लड़ाई हुई थी
Correct. Which is also interesting because Malika's character also has this best friend that she over analyzes things with.
Yeah. And Pranav, you?
I think for me also it's my bunch of my best friends. There are 2, 3, 4 people, and हम सभी एक जैसे हैं. So sometimes I'm their wingman, sometimes they're mine. And this, like all my college friends. So I was saying that somewhere else also, that we actually in college subscribed to these courses.
Okay.
They were not happening in India back then.
Okay.
But we used to, download these courses, Tao of the Badass, and all those things, some lifestyle, some things. So there we used to read about all this. That's how badly, we wanted girls when we were in college. So there's been no specific love guru, but there's been a lot of literature and a lot of
Literature.
discourses.
Lots of magazines.
Lots of magazines.
जब आपने, even you worked in big banner films alongside Salman Khan, you were in The Bung too, then Hero Panti and other shows and everything. So how did your approach to choosing roles, finding work change? Because you also are like a trained dancer, so you were very invested in that earlier. So abhi, is it like you are now fighting or looking out for role कि अब मुझे ऐसा character करना है, अब मुझे ऐसा character करना है, or you are like easy going with the flow कि ठीक है, let's see what comes my way, then I'll see how it goes, or you're like actively there?
The active bit is only about finding the right scripts, because you have to also realize the best written scripts are going to the top tier.
Yeah.
And there are only a certain number of good scripts that are written in a year. So filter होते और जब तक वो आप तक पहुंचता है ना, then there are like hardly, I think, 2 or 3 scripts by the end of it which are really nice, that you want to be part of, which have something for you as an actor also. Earlier, also, the journey is different in terms of, earlier I would want to be part of bigger productions wherein, I would learn, also be seen. Like, because you mentioned Dabang, you mentioned Hero Panti. These were films you wanted to be part of because it would be seen by a lot more people. So you wanted visibility at the beginning of your career. once you get the visibility, then you want to understand, okay, so now what can you also evolve as an actor over a period of time. You also become better. So then you understand what do I bring to the table, right? So then you start choosing things on the basis of character. What is your character doing in this film? If it's taken out, would it make a difference to the film or the series? I don't do things. So basically, my approach is if you take out my character from a film or a series, if the story can continue, then I don't do it. If the story does not continue, then I do it. So I feel like the choice, kind of how you decide on what to do, changes over a period of time. Right now, it's all about finding the good scripts and being part of scripts writing that is good. And characters that are interesting are slightly different. I get very bored. Like, I can't be just dancing in a film and look very pretty and that's it. I feel like I have so much more I can offer as a human. And as an actor, you want people to appreciate you for the dance, not just for dancing, for the acting, no?
Everything that you bring.
To be honest, right now, I only want you to see me for my acting bit. Like, the rest is not important to me.
जैसे terms हैं outsiders and all, it is like a challenge to, everybody carves their own niche. So even after working with, big names in the industry, does that networking actually help going forward? You were there with Salman Khan, Tiger Shroff, Kriti Sanan, you were there with Amitabh Bachchan. So does that networking help for more roles?
I think yes, because when you do, say, a film with Salman, it reaches a far more bigger audience. So at least people know who you are, right? So the moment people know who you are, there are also, like, if you've done half decent job also, there are casting directors, there are other directors who are watching. I'll give you my example. Sajid Nadiadwala had watched Dabangg 2 at the screening, and that's how I got Heropanti. So it does help. It does help to be part of bigger films where, certain directors and producers watch that. And Imtiaz had watched something else of mine, and that's how I had gotten Dr. Aurora. So for me, it has been that. It has been work providing more work. But once again, like, I feel like you can do, like, it's also luck, right? Like, it's such a combination of things. Sometimes you can do bigger things, but it might not work. So then if a film doesn't work, then it doesn't bloody anybody. So it's luck combined with your decisions when things have to happen for you.
Yeah, they'll happen.
They'll fall in place.
I think it's yes. It's a yes and a no. It's both things. Like Sandeepa said that, when you get a wider distribution, it always helps. And people watch it. So you're reaching more eyeballs. So that can help you. But ultimately, you could reach a lot of eyeballs, but still, not get help because probably there's not so much merit. So ultimately, it has to be merit, reach, and luck. And luck, I think, definitely plays a very important role. And I realize that there is God, and I'm not Him. So ultimately, something has to fall into place. The universe has to conspire, and then things sort of pan out.
Right.
So it's a yes and a no.
But we'll say, I mean, access is one thing that I feel like
Affects your trajectory.
100%. I think where you begin from makes a huge difference. For sure. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I agree. But I feel that for me, personally, the day that I decided that I'm going to do this, I knew that I don't have that access. So I took that decision and I thought that, and I genuinely hold no negativity for this whole nepotism thing that, goes on everywhere. And I feel that it happens in every industry. It happens in the world. That's how the world works. If my dad's a lawyer, if I want to be an advocate tomorrow, I will obviously have, better access. I can reach
But I
out to
find it
people.
annoying
It
sometimes
is
that
annoying.
somebody gets 10,000 chances, is shit at their job, and gets 10,000. And there are so many good actors out there who are not even getting a chance. I feel like it's a bit unfair. That's annoying.
never a
Like, I
fair
feel like if
play
someone's got the access and whatever, and they get one opportunity, if they're not up to the mark, then that's what it should end there. But the thing is, it doesn't end there. they will
Till the
keep
time-
getting.
till the time they become better.
Yeah, yeah, which might or might not happen,
Might or
and we'll get used to their bad acting. You will. I find it very, very good.
Yeah.
Now people are not going to spare anyone, and not them, not us also.
But you know, they work in such extremes, and so much so that now even if somebody who's come through that channel, they're scrutinized more. Even if they're like a half decent actor, audience will not let them go.
Yeah.
It's like यार ये तो nepotism वाला है.
Correct.
So I think वो अभी वो
नहीं, वो
उल्टा
अच्छी
हो रहा
बात है क्योंकि हर चीज तो एक्सट्रीम से शुरू होती है,
Yeah.
तब तो फिर वो बैलेंस में आएगी.
Yeah.
है. अभी इक्विलिब्रियम आने में टाइम
टाइम लगेगा यार. वो एक एक्सट्रीम था, अभी दूसरे पे है, फिर बीच में आएंगे. राइट. सो नो, बिफोर वाइंडिंग अप आई हैव two things to ask. So, you know, you have spent so much time on the sets together, you know, talking about relationships, acting about it, and then also, you know, sabke, when you're colleagues, you have those kind of conversations. So, if you had to give advice to each other about love and relationships, what it would be?
Please learn how to drive a car. He almost killed me.
Oh my God.
Too.
But we have to mention that it was
Yeah.
a Fiat Padmini जो 1968 में बनी थी और उसको कोई नहीं चला सकता.
I remember my fright. We were doing this scene. So this car is a huge part of the show.
It's a character in the show.
Okay.
It's a old Fiat, maroon colored, vintage car, and his character is the one who owns it, and it's parked like it's a character in itself. And this was the first time I was sitting in the car, and he was supposed to drive, and we were doing the scene in the car, and he starts driving, and I can see he is going to
Go
ram.
anywhere now.
He is going to ram into something, and I'm like, Pranav, stop.
एक्सप्रेशन भी देना है तो ये एक्सप्रेशन तो हो नहीं सकता रोक तो वो कमाल की एक्टिंग थी जो इन्होंने करी एक्चुअली.
That was a true test of my acting because my heart was in my hands. Because I was like, अब तो गए, अब तो मर गए, ये हो गया अभी this is the last thing I'll ever do. I'm like, Baba, you please learn how to drive this car first. Then only I'm sitting. Every time we had a scene in the car,
Everybody was scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
So for the other actors, the director, Mr. Akshay Chaubey, used to say good take if they performed well.
Yeah.
In my case, if I drove well, you say यार कमाल का take. तू ये अच्छा कर दे बस.
Safely पहुंचा दे, बस यहाँ से वहाँ.
Shooting बंद नहीं होनी चाहिए.
Right. And what would be your advice to her?
My advice to her, actually, honestly telling you, I have given so many suggestions to everybody in the show about love that now I think I should not. I should refrain now for some days and let's see how those tips are being received. Then only I'll give any advice to anybody. मैं बैन ही ना हो जाऊँ कि यार ये self-proclaimed love guru advice दे ही जा रहा है love के ऊपर बिना बात के. So I think I'll wait for a few days and then I'll personally
But
tell.
you know what's interesting is him as a person. You the way he has a relationship, you can learn so much from that. You've been in a relationship for so long, like a solid guy. You know how we were talking about कहाँ है वो green flags.
flag वाला.
ये है वो green flag. So it's very interesting to see that live. You know, with
Please ये सब काट देना ये बाहर नहीं जाना चाहिए. मेरे prospects मर जाएंगे सारे. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a good green flag to view.
Yeah. This needs to go out.
Yeah.
You'll put it for sure. I'm now understanding.
Although you're playing a red flag in the show, you're quite a green flag in person.
Right. So, you know, we are here and we can't let you go without talking more on today's, you know, the art of ishq in 2025. So, this is a very quick and small quiz, sort of, right? So, let's begin. Both of you answer ek ek karke. Which Bollywood professor would you take love lessons from? Salman Khan in Partner or Shah Rukh Khan in Mohabbatein?
Shah Rukh Khan. We both are Shah Rukh Khan fans.
Great. One Bollywood movie that perfectly defines love for you.
वीर ज़ारा and दिलवाले दुल्हनिया ले जाएंगे.
हम आपके हैं कौन?
Nice. That's a very good one. Old school handwritten love letters or cute WhatsApp texts with emojis.
Handwritten letters. Any day.
Handwritten letters.
First date, what is your first date idea? A fancy restaurant or a street food and long drive?
Street food, long drive.
Street food, long drive, and then go to a fancy restaurant and eat pasta.
Nice. So you will do it all. Right.
It's too much hectic.
And too expensive also. पैसे भी ज़्यादा लगेंगे.
Filmy proposal on a mountain top or a heartfelt private moment?
Filmy proposal on a mountain top.
Right. And
खत्म कर रहे हैं टेंशन दे दिया हमने।
Right. And the last one, although you have said कि आपने बहुत सारे lessons दिए हैं, but since प्यार के professors are here, what is your 1 or 2 love lessons that you would like to give to आज के audience? Yeah.
Just be you, I think, because when you're in a relationship with anybody, they see through you sooner or later. So it's better to start off on a footing where you're just being yourself, so that there is no projection, and they know what they're getting into.
Right.
I think care more about the other person than what you want all the time. I think it's very important to listen. And not be like, I don't like this, I don't know, no. Then be like, what do you like? What do you not like? Let's do that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's very important. I feel like that's lacking.
Yeah. This I'm definitely going to put. So thank you so much for joining us today, and all the best for प्यार के professors.
Thank you so
Please आप देखना सब लोग please.
Yes. Thank you so much for watching.